Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I will be doing another episode recap for today's Days of Our Lives, July 30th, 2024. So let's get into the first scene, right? So we see Johnny and Chanel, they're at home. Chanel has a bad dream. She immediately wakes up. He's like, what happened? So it wasn't really a bad dream. So it was Chanel thinking that she overslept and she's late for work, and he's like, don't you remember that you said you was gonna take the day off today? So she said, oh yeah, I forgot. So anyways, they started to get a little cozy, and then she kind of put brakes on it because she's like, the doctor advised them to wait at least 6 to 12 months to really start and have a baby again. So he's like, okay, yes, I understand, but didn't you say you were on the pill? And she say, yes, but I still don't want to take chances, because obviously, she's still trying to heal from everything, and she's just really afraid of, anything to happen again that could cause a potential miscarriage, right? So they did, she did kind of forget about it and just like put it to the side, and they did continue to get cozier and intimate, and they were supposed to meet up with her mom, but her mom was running late doing some errands, and they just decided to spend the time together, right? So we're going to the next scene, right? So we see Kate and Abe, they're at the office. They're working on this soap opera, Body and Soul. So they're looking over the list of potential cast members, right? So the last time we see these two together planning the soap opera and production, the original cast members were not able to come out to Salem, right? And they had other engagements, so they had to have completely new cast members to go through and see, who is fit for auditions, right? So at some point they get a knock at the door, but we will talk about this later on in the recap, all right? So Stephanie is in the square, and she's doing some work, and then she receives a call from Jada, right? So Jada is they are talking about the previous conversation that they had about whether or not Bobby is the one that stabbed Rafe and also stabbed Lee, right? So they're going over this theory, and Jada spoke to Marlena, and she told Stephanie what Marlena thinks. However, she didn't really divulge much because Marlena cannot discuss Everett or Bobby's case with her because of confidentiality, right? So Jada said that based on how Marlena was talking, Marlena is also convinced that Bobby and Everett has not fully integrated and Bobby is still around, right? So Stephanie is like, yeah, it makes sense. And did you tell her about the fact that we think that Bobby was the one that stabbed Rafe? So Jada said, no, I want to just really keep that hush on the low, right? Really don't want to say nothing without actually doing the investigation first, right? So then we see Leo come up, and Leo's like, what are you talking about? I hear you talking about Everett. What is it about? So anyway, she gets off the phone with Jada, and Jada says, Stephanie says, like, this is your usual habit to eavesdrop. So he's like, I can't, pass up good tea, right? So anyways, he sit down, and then he's like, so tell me what happened, right? So she's like, nothing can really pass this table, right? So he says, okay. So she basically just comes up with something and tell Leo that she and Everett broke up. Well, Everett broke up with her. And it's like, really? I thought he would get back to you, because everything before he went into Bayview, you were all he thought about. So it's like, it's surprising to me. Should I confront him? And she's like, no. Everett broke up with me because he wanted to focus on his mental health and all of that. So he's like, Leo begins to put two and two together, and he's like, Everett hasn't been really his usual self, right? Because he hasn't been his usual temperament at work, and something seems to be up with him, or maybe he's just not back. He's not integrated. He's still Bobby. So Stephanie tries to play it off. She knows Leo is right, but she also didn't want to really divulge much because it's still really fresh. So she's like, you know, your theory is ridiculous, and he's like, no, I think my theory is on point, it's logical and all of that. But anyways, she says, you know, just drop it, you know, because he was about to just go talk to Everett and see what's up. And she was like, no, do that. So she leaves him there, and Leah's like, you know what? Y'all know I'm not gonna leave things alone. I'm gonna investigate and see what happens, right? So there he is. He's gonna go find out what he needs to. So we see Bobby in his hotel room, right? And he gets a knock at the door, and it's Julie. So he's like, didn't I tell you that we cannot be seen together? People cannot see us together. And she's like, relax, you know. I made sure to be, you know, discreet about it, right? So anyways, she comes in and they start talking about Rafe stabbing and how did she get away with it. And she's like, she has a perfect record at this point. So it's like, I didn't expect you to stab this guy. So she's like, what do you expect me to do? Send him on an all around the world cruise? Like, you know, this was the only way that could be done. So anyways, he was like, I just don't know how you get away with this. So at some point she has a flashback to the conversation that she overheard between Jada and Stephanie talking about linking Bobby to the crime, right? So at some point some kind of plan etched in her crazy mind, and we'll talk about that later on, right? So at this point, he's like, I don't want to be seen with you. I don't like you. We're not friends. You know, we need to not be seen together. So she's like, okay, I get it. So, but I bought you the donuts, and you know they cost $12.99. I need my $12.99 back. So he's like, I didn't ask for all this. So she's like, it's not for you. It's for you to win Jada. I thought you need some help in that department. So, anyways, he did get the cash to her, and then she said, you know what? I walked all the way over here. Let me get one of the donuts, right? So while he's getting that, she takes out a room key or a card out of his wallet, right? I don't know what she's up to, but she's up to a plan, right? Probably to frame him, right? So she leaves with the donut and, you know, the card in her pocket, right? So we see Paulina arrive at the station to talk to Jada, right? So she offers her sympathy about what happened with Rafe, and you know, Jada said thank you and Abe for the flowers. They're lovely, right? So she's like, you know, it's the best that I can do at this point, right? So at some point she mentions the conversation about looking for an interim police commissioner while Rafe is on the mend. So Jada is like, who is that person? Let me offer my support behind him. So she's like, that person is you. You're the most qualified out of them all. And I would think that this would be a perfect opportunity for you to be in, right? So she's like, how can I really take the man that I love's job away from him, right? So she's like, this is only temporary. And I would think that Rafe would want no other person than you to be involved in this position so that you can catch who did this to him, right? So Jada is like, you know, at first she's hesitant, but then she accepts the offer and she says she's going to devote her time and energy to actually catching the person responsible, right? So then at this time, Paulina sees Lee's case file on her desk and she asks Jada, you know, isn't this case closed? And she's like, no, I decided to reopen it because I think that there's new information about who could possibly have killed Lee and if there's a connection between that murder and Lee and Ray stabbing, right? So she's enthusiastic about taking this on, and Paulina's like, well, get on board. We really can't take another killer being out on the loose in Salem, right? So then we go back to here, right, where remember Kate and Abe had a knock at the door, and then it was at first they thought it was Marlena in character, right, for Charlemagne. So Abe was like, you really came around to it, right? You're in character. And she's like, I'm not Marlena. oh, so you're Charlemagne? And she's like, no, I'm not Charlemagne either. I'm Miss Hattie Adams. So remember Hattie from all these years ago where she impersonated Marlena, and she was the more wackier, crazier, funnier twin to Marlena. So yeah, she's her doppelganger. So anyways, she comes in and she's there to audition for the part of Charlemagne. So, Kate and Abe were skeptical because they're like, do you have any experience and all that? And she's like, not really, but I did act as Marlena for a while and y'all believed it. So they give her a shot. I mean, Abe for the most part gave her a shot because Kate was just not for it at all. She don't think that she's ready for the part. But anyways, it was a really funny scene watching Hattie play Charlemagne, and she was just being silly and like it was really funny to watch her. I liked how Marlena, or Deidre Hall, if that's her real name, I like how she can take on both Marlena, the serious side, and then you have Hattie, the more crazy funny side, right? So it was very funny watching them do the scene between her and Kate. And at some point, she wasn't getting the lines right. And Abe was like, you need to evoke more emotion so that the viewers will like you more, right? So she did get frustrated. And that is when Abe saw her actually evoking emotion. And then he's like, yeah, this is what I need to see. So then Hattie do over the line, and then she gets it. So Abe is like, you got the part. So she's like really excited, yeah, I got the part. So yeah, that's that with them for now. So we go back to Jada, right? And Jada's alone at the police station, and she calls Bobby, right? So she's like, at this point she calls him Everett, but it's Bobby. So Everett, I really feel bad about what happened the last time we were together. Do you want to come over to this police station to smooth it over? So, he was like, sure. So let's go on to the next scene, right? So we see Johnny and Chanel finally come out of their bedroom, and they're at the pub. Paulina is there, right? So they're having some breakfast or so. So Paulina checks in with them how they're doing, and she's just happy that the two of them are here to stay. So Chanel tells them that they're planning to have another baby, but not anytime soon, but later on, and they would love for her to just be present by their side while doing that. So of course Paulina is excited to be there as a grandparent and babysit and all that. So she did tell them more about her health and what she needs to do in terms of her diet. So Chanel just says that she's gonna have to make some changes to the menu at Sweet Bits, right? So then Paulina asks Johnny, what about that LA job that you had? So he's like, I refuse the job offer. I'll just find something in Chicago, something nearby where I can, do my job. So at this point, Paulina is saying, there must be something to do here. And I was thinking that, with this body and soul thing, maybe they would recommend him for a job position there, right? So anyways, we go on to the next scene. So we see Everett go over to the police station where Jada is, right? And he has the box of donuts that Connie gave him, right? So he offers it to her and said he's sorry for how things ended at the hospital room. So she's like, it's not necessary, right? So he's like, he's fully integrated now, and the session with Marlena went well, and Bobby's feelings is a part of his feelings, right? So she said, okay, so since you're fully integrated now, maybe you can tell me who really killed Lee, because Bobby said he knew. So he's like, but I'm Everett now, so I don't think I'll remember. So she's like, cut the BS. I know you're not Everett. I know you've still been Bobby since the day you left Bayview, right? So he's like, no, I'm still Everett. I don't really know what you're talking about. And she's like, come on, think about it. Like, you stabbed Brave so that you can get him out the way, so that you can have me to yourself, right? So she's like, she will get examiners to really prove that he's still Bobby. So he's like, fine, I'm still Bobby, but I did not stab Lee or Rafe, but I know who did, right? So I don't know if he's gonna sell Connie under the bus, but I've been calling her Julie earlier, so my apologies, guys. I've been calling her by a real name. So we go back to Abe and Kate and Hattie, right? So at this point, she gets the job and, they tell her to wait outside while they discuss some things, right? So Kate is like, you really hire this lady? She can't act for nothing. Like, he's like, I see something in her. Let's hire a acting coach to help her along the way. But I believe that she's good for the role. So Kate is not buying it, but Kate is like, all right, cool. So they call back Hattie in and they tell her she got the job. So Abe leaves them because he has to go have, breakfast with Paulina and the rest of them, right? So he leaves Kate and Hattie to go over a contract, right? So while Hattie's going over the contract, she's like, oh, this is pay that we're getting. So she's like, yeah, for somebody with no experience, that's what you're getting. So then she has all these crazy demands about she needs a makeup artist for herself, and she needs this and she needs that. She needs the jelly beans to be sorted out and you take the green one. So all kind of crazy, silly demands, right? So Kate is like, listen, you're not fully experienced actress. This is what you have to do, and you'll be doing your own makeup and hair, so this is the budget that we're working with, right? So anyways, she's like, you want the job or not? So she's like, yeah, I'll take the job, let me sign the contract. So Abe joins the rest of them for breakfast at the pub, right? So Abe fills them in on what's going on with Body and Soul, right? So Paulina recommends Johnny for it because, Johnny is in the film industry and he's a budding director. So Abe offers him the job position to kind of, help to elevate the less experienced actors that are going to come into it, right? So he's like, I'd be honored to do so, right? And, I'd be working in a place that's near the home and, for somebody that I truly adore. So it's a win-win for me. So Chanel is happy about it as well, and they cheers to it, right? So if you remember, I was saying something about Connie actually having a plan etched in her crazy mind when she took away that room key, and, turns out I was right? So Connie opens the door because she was watching when Bobby left, right? So she comes in with his room key and she has on those black gloves, so she up to something. So she was on his laptop and she also had some evidence, right? It was some gloves from Rafe stabbing that has his DNA on it in a plastic bag, right? So she's about to plant some evidence into Bobby's room and implicate him in Rafe stabbing, right? So while she was about to hide the evidence, we hear Leo's voice from the door. Like, he's like, Everett, I need to talk to you. So, again, she's stunned. Like, what is she gonna do? So I guess we'll see in the next episode. So that is it, guys. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to my channel. Comment below what you thought about today's episode, right? See you tomorrow.